Happy Valentine's Day from Edinburgh. I thought about what is the most loving thing that I could do for myself today, and I felt like putting on some makeup, dressing up, and making a little video. So here I am in the park. Look at how cute. Look at how beautiful. And we're just loving life. So I've also been thinking a lot about what is the most loving thing that we can do together as a human family, as a collective. And I honestly believe, looking at all of this history in Scotland, it has spurred a bit of a realization for me. I desperately want us as a Black diaspora to come together, to unify. Just like how this gorgeous outfit of mine and my makeup came together today for this production, I really and truly believe that we will only be free once we come together. Y'all know it's also Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. And so I just think the blackest and the most loving thing that we can do is unify across the diaspora. And I'm going to start with something that I don't want to say agree with, but not something that I necessarily celebrate in its form, like the Bonito Bowl. The idea that liberation happens through representation at a capitalist event, capitalism, which requires the exploitation of marginalized folks, especially Black folks, thinking that that is the way to liberation is just not sensible to me. It just doesn't, the continents aren't connecting there. But one thing that I really did love seeing in the Bonito Bowl was the unity across the diaspora. I thought it was so beautiful the way that he put all of these historical elements, experience elements, cultural elements together to show how powerful we are when we are unified. I'm mid-city, so there's a lot of action going on, but it's just so beautiful out. How could I not bring y'all here so that we can enjoy the day together? But back to, are we calling this a video essay? Am I a video essayist? Back to my spiel, my message for the day. I truly believe that there is nothing Blacker and more loving than coming together, unifying as a Black diaspora, unifying as a human family outside of race, but especially within Blackness. And I do think that the Bonito Bowl showed the beauty of all the different iterations of what it means to be Latinx and how it transcends race, how it presents itself in different ways throughout the Latinx diaspora. And I think throughout any diaspora, whether it's the Asian diaspora or the Black diaspora or the indigenous diaspora, you have such cultural oneness. And then we have ways that set us apart, that make us unique, but still make us a family, a human family within, different racial groups. But I applaud Bad Bunny for the way that he demonstrated that. Do I think that the biggest day in human trafficking and the biggest stage for capitalism, between the advertising, and the distraction. We've been talking a lot about bread and circuses. Super Bowl is the ultimate circus where you're having all the bread and you're very distracted. So do I think that the day itself is a good representation of liberation? Absolutely not. Do I think that the message that he laced into his performance is? Absolutely. Two things can be true. Actually, several things can be true at once. I really hope that we get more into getting comfortable with that as we continue our struggle. Now, how do me personally, Tahira, think that we get there and unify across the diaspora? Well, the global north has definitely injected us and, programmed us with supremacy thinking. And one thing I notice, yes, first generation American, but American nonetheless, I am distinctively different from my cousins or from people who grew up in the global south. That is something that I recognize. I'm even different from people when I'm in Europe. I'm in Scotland right now, and there are just distinct differences between how I as an American have grown up and other people across the global north have grown up, let alone folks who have grown up in the global south. So unfortunately, you do have a centering of Americanness that happens globally. And I have done so much work unlearning that. And I do think we all have to unlearn that. It doesn't matter if we're Black, if we're Latinx, if we're Indigenous, whatever group we are from, even if we're marginalized, we are still programmed to uphold Americanness in some way. And Americanness is built off of supremacy. That is just a fact. Supremacy requires us to put ourselves, our identities, above other people's identities, to take up all the space in the room, to be the loudest in the room, to constantly center ourselves. And that is something that I find we do within the Black diaspora quite often. When it comes to Black History Month, yes, Black History Month in America, it should 1000% center Black Americans. And also, how do we say this? It should center Blackness, and it should make special mention of how much sacrifice Black Americans specifically have made within America for not just themselves, but there would be no other group welcome in America when it comes to Black people. But even when it comes to Asian people or Latinx people coming to America, a lot of the fight that Black Americans did within civil rights and gaining equality, and really, I hate to say equality because I think Black folks were really fighting for liberation, struggling towards that, and that often gets lost. What we have to realize is that there is enough space for all of us to celebrate all of our identities and the multifacetedness of who we are as a people. There are so many different ways of being Black, and all ways of being Black are so beautiful. The more that we really center that, the freer that we are. We also help to unlearn our supremacy thinking, where you think that you just have to be one representation and that's the right way or the best way, so to speak. We have to be able to make room for one another to be who we are, and also know that we are all special or beautiful and needed in some way, that there's space for us all to be celebrated. And I think Black History Month is no different. Something notable as well that doesn't get spoken about as often as I would want it to be, a lot of the Black American liberationists, I will say, Malcolm X, Kwame Ture, Assata Shakur, and so many others, were also pan-Africanists. They were pan-Africanists first. They wanted to center us as a people, as a Black people. they believed so deeply in the beauty of the homeland. And it really breaks my heart that within Black Americanness, there are subsets of folks who are taught to eschew Africanness, to separate themselves from the continent and from Blackness in that way, where the very folks who struggled within America and made so many sacrifices to liberate Black folks within America were making arguments that we as a people have to come together. And there were folks like Marcus Garvey, Thomas Sankara, so many folks that I'm gonna put here, who felt that we as a Black diaspora have to be united in our struggle. So I'm gonna say the most loving thing that we can do as a human family is to continue to struggle towards collective liberation, but as a Black diaspora is to struggle towards unity and celebrating our Blackness in all of its forms. Now, this is not just a call to Black Americans. This is a call to all Black folks. I saw a lot of folks get on Shabuzi, rightfully so. He's a Nigerian American who just won a Grammy, and in his speech, he said that immigrants built America. Now, remember when I was saying that there's more than enough room for all of us? We don't have to revise history. We can say that Black Americans built America because it's true, while also celebrating the accomplishments of the Black immigrants that came to America because of the struggles that Black Americans fought for, or the liberties that Black Americans fought for. We can't, multiple things can be true. Again, there's more than enough room for all of us. We do not have to give in to supremacy thinking and programming. We really can just be there fighting alongside and for one another. A Black American who not only spoke to that but lived it was, in my opinion, Assata Shakur. One of the best to ever do it. May she rest in peace. Just the way that she spoke about Cuba, dispelling the programming, the anti-Cuban rhetoric and programming that a lot of Americans, Black, Latinx, Indigenous, Asian, anyone living in America or the global North is subject to, because we are told to commit to the American agenda just as much as white Americans are. Hell, sometimes even more. Obama, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at a lot of people, actually. But Assata Shakur really the Cuban people embraced her. Cuba literally saved her life and allowed her to live a life and have a vision of liberation that shows Black people across the diaspora that we can absolutely build a coalition across racial groups. But let's not forget how many Black Cubans there are. Millions. Let's not forget the Black roots of Cuba. Let's not forget how part of why Castro was so hated is because he desegregated Cuba and wanted there to be equal rights for all Cubans, especially Black Cubans. That's why they were really mad. He was a ally and accomplice in the struggle for Black liberation too. So Assata Shakur speaking so positively about Cuba and really showing all Black folks across the diaspora the power. We can literally save each other's lives by coming together. If that is not love embodied and personified and all of it, if that is not love, if that's not the essence of what it means to love, then I don't know if we know what love is. Then that, I think, is the greatest form of love, to enable someone to be free to live the rest of their life not in captivity to have beautiful experiences. And mind you, she also spoke about the pain that she felt, the grieving that she had to do of the life that she could no longer be part of, leaving her home country and having to integrate into a society that she wasn't born into, and leave behind all the people that she loved, and not get to speak to most of them. It's a huge thing. But I truly believe that collective liberation is the way forward, always and forever. And in order for us to be a collective, a human collective, us as a Black diaspora, we have to get there. We have to get there, and we will get there. I truly believe it. I'm speaking it into existence. There's a great video that I watched. Maybe I'll put part of it here.
Light already won. Everything that you are seeing right now, all of the darkness coming out right now, the Epstein files, ICE, the corruption, violence, is not a sign that darkness is winning. And I need you to lock the fuck in, because all this is, it is a revelation. Darkness has to reveal itself in order to be dismantled, because what is hidden cannot be changed.
The light has won. That is all. I love you. I really hope you have a beautiful Valentine's Day, and just take in more of this sun. Mwah.